What's going on, Niner fam? It is Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic podcast, and it's going to be an interesting topic today. I think it is. I think we've talked about the QB position ad nauseum, but I'm going to take it from a different angle today, and we're going to figure out what type of quarterback Shanny is actually best for Shanny, and not what he thinks is best for him. But before we get into any of that, I want you to make sure you give this video a like, make sure that you give it a subscribe, make sure that you hit the bell note so you get the notifications for when I go live. And what better way than to start with the music?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I like to know.
are you ready for start time?
Once again, it is Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic podcast. Thank you guys for coming through. And once again, it's make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend so we can be friends. And every day, every week, like we're trying to build this community up. But and it's you might have heard that music before. Apparently, there's another content creator that uses the same exact music as I do. So I'll be changing that pretty soon. But anyway, we're gonna get into it. And Shanny. So I was thinking today, and I'm on Twitter as I usually do throughout the day, and you see all these people talking about Purdy, talking about Lance. As always, we can't stop talking about him. We got one guy doing victory laps about a competition that's not even over yet, and then you've got another guy doing victory laps because I guess he just assumes that he's proven his point. And I mean, it's just there's just a lot. It's a lot, and I just behoove everybody to just take a husa just for a minute, woosah, whatever, however you want to do it, and think about think about for a minute. I know people are so desperate to be right, so desperate to be right. But can we take a moment off of that for a second and think about what is the best thing for your team to win and win? And you may think that is for you to be right, whether you're a Trey stan or whether you're a Purdy fan, whether you're a Jimmy G guy, or the rare few that want Sam Darnold to be the guy. But I just encourage people to just chill. Chill. It's the summertime off season. There is no news about anything right now. And people are just on, oh my God, Twitter. And I mean Facebook. It's even more toxic in Facebook. I don't know if anybody chills on Facebook, but it is all my Facebook listeners. We just need to chill and relax. The reality is the 49ers have a great team. They have two really good options at the quarterback position. It doesn't matter who starts. It really doesn't matter because whoever starts is going to be the best person for the team. And let's say it's Purdy. Does that mean that necessarily that you're right? It absolutely does not. And we're going to get into it, but because my first question of the evening is, to myself is what type of QB is the best for Shanny's system? Because Shanny handpicked Trey Lance, right? And he said he wanted somebody the best quarterback that in his mind would be able to run like Lamar Jackson and throw like Drew Brees. Right? That's what he said. Is there a guy such a guy in the league? No. He doesn't exist. Like, so you've usually got one or the other. I think the closest thing to that it would be a Pat Mahomes because he can run. He's not nearly as fast as I mean, he's mobile. I don't even think he's really that fast, but he's mobile. And but I say that because then he handpicks Trey Lance because and he talked about it many times. Trey Lance is a very smart guy, has heart, has heart, um, has all of the measurables. Like I wouldn't say he's as fast as Lamar Jackson, obviously. I think he kind of struggles a little bit on. He's not really a run. He's not really a runner. He's not a running back by any stretch of the imagination, and that's not his style. And then there's a little bit I think there's a little bit to be said about moving up from FCS football to the pros, especially when you've played as little football as Trey Lance. But I think for Shanny that was a plus actually because to him he was going to get to build up a guy and not have him not have to uncoach the um if I can explain this in a way that makes sense to people out there. Like so quite frequently in today's world of business, companies have moved to hiring people straight out of college rather than pay the guy with experience. And they do it that way because they can bring that new person in who has no experience, doesn't know any better, and then they can mold them in the way that they do things that they want it done. You don't know that that person doesn't know that it can't really be done the way that they're asking because they don't have the experience to know that. So they're going to go in there and they're going to demand to their people that they get it done even though it's not possible. And that's what companies want. That's what they want out of their leaders. They want them to have plausible deniability. And so really feel like Shanny, it was almost a plus for him that that Trey Lance didn't get a chance to build the bad habits from anybody else's system, and that he would have a blank slate when he came in, and he'd get to teach his way. However, it doesn't really work like that. This isn't Madden. You can't just take a guy with traits and just say, "Oh, we're going to build him from the ground up." I don't know if that's what it really was, but that's the idea. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out his thought process because in a situation where you have a Super Bowl ready roster, you have to get a guy that's ready to go. You're drafting this guy third overall. You're drafting this guy third overall to to step in, to step in and start. And you can say that the plan was to, and I do think that the plan was to have him sit the first year. I think that was the original plan. But at the same time, it wasn't a good plan. That's not a good plan. And I think everybody questioned at the time the fact him not they questioned not just taking Trey Lance, because I think a lot of people were high on Trey Lance coming out. A lot of the fans were excited about it, but there was quite a few people that were voicing concerns, saying that about talking about that this would be an unprecedented situation where because Trey Lance had such little experience. So when we talk about what type of QB is the best for Shanny's system, so I haven't seen really bad out of Trey Lance. And people can sit there and point to the throws that he's missed and that kind of stuff. Quarterbacks are going to miss throws. That's not bad to me. Like he might have thrown one bad pick. Like I mean, but the reality is quarterbacks are going to throw bad picks. Brady's thrown bad picks. He's great. He's the GOAT. Montana threw bad picks. Marino threw bad picks. Like that's not the end all be all to me. You're never going to get a quarterback that's perfect. Even Pat Mahomes makes bad plays. Didn't he have? I think in the Super Bowl, like we picked him off in the Super Bowl. So does that mean he was bad? No, because nobody's talking about that because he won the Super Bowl. Like, so I feel like Trey Lance's the things that he doesn't do well are way blown out of proportion. And likewise, Purdy, on the other hand, let's look at Purdy for a minute. Purdy is little. He's little. And I've said it a bunch of times. He's little. And the does he have the strongest of arms? No. Is he really good for Shanny's system? I think he is. But is that the type of QB that is the best for Shanny's system? I would say no. I don't think that the best QB for Shanny's system, honestly, is on the roster. I know that's a hot take, and people are probably going to say that I'm crazy for saying this, but I don't think that the best quarterback for this team currently is on the roster. Not for Shanny's system. Shanny's had opportunities to coach athletic guys, and at the end of the day, it hasn't ended well. Let's just be real. Yeah, we can sit there and play the blame game, but the reality is those guys get hurt. And then on top of it, but then also you've got the other direction, the other direction of the spectrum, where we have guys that aren't as talented, and we've seen them flourish, but there's always something missing. There's always we see guys wide open down the field that guy can't quite get the ball to, and or they're late, or but there has to be special circumstances, perfect circumstances for them to get the ball to those receivers that for those big plays. And so in a perfect world, I think that the type of quarterback for Shanny's system is it. I mean, I know it's easy to say, but it's really Tom Brady with it's really Tom Brady. It's really Tom Brady like that. I mean, if we look at it, because he needs somebody that's going to get rid of the ball. And this is a critique that I've had of Jimmy G in the past. I think Purdy doesn't do a good job of it either. Really, Trey hasn't had a chance to show that he can do it. But and I know Sam Darnold doesn't do it, but this is what has to happen in Shanny's offense from what I've seen is if you're late on a throw and all of a sudden the window's closed, quite what we don't need is Purdy running around trying to make a play. That's great that he does it, and when it happens, it's great that it happens. But the reality is you're putting yourself in danger. You're putting yourself in danger. And because Shanny's offense is built on timing. And there's windows that open, they're going to be open, and then they're going to close. And if you miss that window, the reality is that you're going to have to really be able to get away from pressure. You're probably going to get hit. And what we've seen out of these quarterbacks is that they can't take hits over and over again. They're going to get hurt. And we can blame whoever. You can blame the quarterback. You can blame you can blame Shanny. You can blame the offensive line. You can blame the tight end that misses the block. But that is the reality is Shanny needs a quarterback that can get rid of the ball. If the window closes, he needs to get rid of the ball. Get rid of the ball. Throw it away. And people are going to get upset. People are going to get upset that, he missed the window. He missed the throw. But you know what? He's still up there to odds are, but he didn't get, this is the thing, he didn't get hurt. If he gets rid of the ball, and the reason why I thought of this was because I'm sitting there and I'm watching Tom Brady play like it was one of the old games. And one of the things that I noticed about him was sometimes if he sees somebody come loose and the window closes, he just gets rid of the ball. It doesn't matter to who, it doesn't matter how it looks. He just throws it in the dirt if he has to, so he doesn't have to take the hit. That's what Shanny needs. Is a guy that's definitive. If the hole's not there, get rid of the ball. Get rid of the ball. And it's great that Purdy can make those plays like on the run. And we saw him make that incredible throw to Ayuk in the corner of the end zone that Ayuk didn't catch, but it was still an incredible play, right? And those are great one-off plays when they work out. But when they don't work out and you bruise or tear your oblique muscle, or you get a random fluke UCL injury because you held onto the ball a tick too late, that's when we're sitting there arguing about whose fault it is. And why does his quarterbacks always get hurt? Get rid of the ball. Shanny's going to get you more opportunities. Like we keep wanting that elite quarterback. And I just brought up Brady, so like, but even you could count. I can like I think Kirk Cousins would have been a really good quarterback for Shanny. And I know people are going to be like, why are we talking about Kirk Cousins? He's going to be available next year. And I'm not saying go out and get Kirk Cousins. I hope that Purdy or Lance work out this season. I hope that we get a Super Bowl. That's what we want. But I still don't think that the perfect quarterback for Shanny's offense is on this roster. And it kind of goes into my next question is, will the 49er fans eventually hate Shanny for what is necessary? And what I mean by that is what is necessary. What is necessary for Shanny to do? He's going to have to admit that I think he misevaluated Trey. I think he's going to have to admit that they didn't necessarily do the right things from I think he's going to have he's not going to do what it takes to protect his quarterback. Like so are they going to hate Shanny for what is going to be necessary for him to do, because it's necessary that he protects Brock. If he's the one out there, it's necessary for him to not try and run Trey Lance, because Trey's not good at it. And granted, he needs reps to get better at it, but we don't have as a team that we have constructed right now, they don't have time for that. They don't have time for that. That's why I say he's been misevaluated. He's been mishandled because he's not ready. And he's had fluke injuries, yes, which kept his progression aside. But you can't. If this is the thing, you can't go back, and hindsight is always 2020. And him getting hurt was a direct reflection of the misevaluation. And then this is the other part. It's a direct reflection of the fact that Shanny feels the need, depending on what his quarterback can do. If he's an athletic type of guy, he feels that he has to, it's inside of him. He has to prove to everybody that he's going to bring out some stuff that blows your mind. He wants to do some revolutionary stuff, which is great. You want a creative style coach, right? Except the stuff that makes it creative, the stuff that makes it spectacular, and that stuff that nobody else does, it makes it that way because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. You're putting people in jeopardy. And there's a reason why other coaches don't try some of the things. It looks like genius when it works, but there's a reason why other coaches don't try some of those things that Shanny does, is because Shanny is trusting in the timing of the play call for it to be okay for him to call these things and put his quarterback in jeopardy. But most teams wouldn't even do the play call, because there's no way that they're going to leave their quarterback open to get blindsided. They're just not going to do it. But Shanny doesn't feel that same way. Shanny thinks to himself, and he said it when he talked about Brock, is if he would have just thrown it a tick earlier. If he would have just thrown it a tick earlier. That's his mindset. So when I look at Shanny, and don't get me wrong, I love Shanny. I love the scheme, love all of it. I think that we're right on the cusp. If Shanny can learn a few more, add a few more things to the toolbox, I think that he can be a great coach. But this is the thing about what quarterback is best for Shanny's system. It can't be an athletic quarterback. It can't be athletic. That's that's in my opinion. I don't think Shanny can have an athletic quarterback because he's going to feel too much pressure to do to put them in positions that they don't need to be in. And I'm not talking about running them into walls. I'm not talking about running power, QB powers, but he's going to put them in dangerous positions. He's already going to do that to his other quarterbacks, but especially to the ones that are athletic, because they have the athleticism in his mind. They have the athleticism to get out of there. So in my mind, the perfect quarterback for Shanny cannot be athletic, because now in that takes away an entire facet of what Shanny's mind can make up to be more dangerous for that quarterback. And they're going to give. We've seen it with Brock and Jimmy. He's not going to give the same. He's not going to give Jimmy and Brock uh, the same scheme and the same play calls as he does Trey. He's not going to do it because they're not athletic. So when we look at it, he can't be athletic. Take that out of it. Let's just take that out of there. So now you've got a quarterback that's not athletic, but maybe has the throw power of the throwing power of a Trey Lance, um, but has the experience, and which disqualifies Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy doesn't have the arm strength. Like it's not that he has. It doesn't mean he doesn't have adequate arm strength, but he doesn't have the arm strength to just throw off platform and to just throw when to get himself out of trouble, out of jams. He doesn't have that kind of arm. He has to be set. He he has to be set. He has to be it has to be in rhythm. So that kind of disqualifies Brock as the perfect QB for Shanny's system. We know it's not Jimmy for much the same reasons, but I don't think that quarterback is on this roster currently. Like, because you might say, oh, well, kind of sounds like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold can run. Like, I'm almost scared of what Shanny's going to call with an athletic quarterback, because because of my next question is, whoever the QB is this year, does he make it through the whole season? And this is a question that I don't think anybody is talking about. And because we don't want to think about injuries, right? We don't want to wish injuries upon anyone. But the reality of the situation is that you've got it's that it's only happened once in the 7 years. We've only made it through Shanny's only made it through a season with one quarterback once in 7 years with the 49ers. So if that's the case, we should just be assuming, and both quarterbacks on the roster, the guys, the 1-2 punch of Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, like I should say Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, like either way you want to look at it, both of them were hurt last year. Trey was hurt the year before that. Like, so what makes people think that either one of those guys is going to get through this whole season without getting hurt? I don't know why more people aren't talking about how scared they are about that situation, because I think that we've gotten to a point where You can no longer turn a blind eye and blame the level of quarterback that it was. And you can't blame, and you're not blaming Shanny per se. You can't, there's no blame. It's not about blaming. It's just about what it is. It's going, like, I'm not saying that they should get hurt. I'm not trying to wish hurt upon anyone. But I'm afraid that it's going to happen. So, do we think Brock Purdy's going to make it through a whole season? He made it through 8 games and got injured twice. He didn't miss time on the first one, but he probably should have. If they had anybody behind him, he probably would have. And the so he got injured twice. Trey's been injured twice. So what do we think? Do we think they make it through the whole season? I can't say that I think that that's the case. I don't think that that's the case. But the type of quarterback that I think for that Shanny needs is the perfect quarterback for his system. He would not be mobile, or he would be just mobile enough, to get out of the pocket. But he would be not mobile enough for Shanny to even think about calling an RPO or run play for him. And then he would have a strong arm, and then he would have impeccable timing and be able to make pre-snap reads. And he would be probably about 6'3", 6'4". That's the perfect quarterback for Shanny. Now, that in my mind, that's the perfect quarterback for Shanny. And that's not Brock Purdy, that's not Trey Lance, that's really not Sam Darnold either, because Sam Darnold is broken. Let's just be real. He said himself he's seeing ghosts. Once you get to that point in this league, you're no longer viable to me as a starter. So it's good that he's a third stringer. He probably would start for somebody, but because somebody would take another chance on him. But we've seen with these reclamation projects, they need to sit. They need to sit and get some of those ghosts out. So he needs to sit and just watch and get used to being with a good team before he even thinks about getting back out there as a starter, in my opinion. But both of those guys, I think that it's just imperative. It's imperative that I don't care. I just don't think that any of that. I don't think Shanny's perfect quarterback is on this roster. That's my personal opinion, and it really kind of scares me what's going to happen this coming season with at the quarterback position as far as from a health standpoint, because the fans are going to go crazy. The fans are going to go crazy if it happens again, if we have the same issue. So I hope it doesn't. I hope Brock comes out there, and because I really think that it's going to end up being Brock Purdy starting week 1 at this point. I was really pulling for Trey, but I don't think it's an honest competition at this point, and I think that they're going to try and rush Brock Purdy back, and it is what it is. I hope eventually Trey gets a chance somewhere because he deserves it. Yeah, I can't see him getting an honest shot. I just can't see it. And but it's going to be a long drawn out I hope the 49ers do man. I think that they can do really well this season if those two things happen. As long as they don't get past Trey Lance on the depth chart. If they get past Trey Lance on the depth chart, because I think they can win with Trey. If they for whatever reason Brock gets hurt, and they get to Trey Lance, and for whatever reason Trey gets hurt, and we get to Sam Darnold, I don't think that's viable. That's not I don't think he's viable as a starter, and to be a winning team. So, with that being said, okay, so fourth question, where are we at? Yeah, I promise you, we are almost out of here. But my fourth question: Who ends up finishing the season at QB? And do they make it to the Super Bowl? And I really think that it's going to end up being Trey Lance finishing this season. I said all that to say I think it's going to be. Does that mean that he's the best quarterback in Shanny's system? I don't know. We shall see. It depends on how Shanny treats these guys at this point, and it depends on what kind of play calls he makes. If he tries the same stuff that he tried before, it's not going to work. I'm a full believer that it's not going to work. It's not going to look good, and it's not going to work. But at the same time, when Shanny starts to lose games, he tends to he gets humbled enough. He usually gets humbled enough to do what everybody's been saying he should do in the first place. However that looks. And it happens every season. He tries something new, doesn't necessarily work out, and people are saying, why is he doing this? He could easily just do this. And they say it for weeks. Then all of a sudden they get like they're starting off slow, like they actually have a losing record. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, he starts doing the things that everybody's been begging him to do. And then all of a sudden they go on a run. It's happened the last couple of years. And well, not this past year. They went on a run and they didn't look back. So, but it happens. It happens. I mean, they started off slow last year. I mean, they started in a monsoon, but yeah, who ends up finishing the season at QB? I tend to say I think it's going to be Trey Lance because I don't think that Brock Purdy can stay healthy in this system. That's my personal opinion on it. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. He's little. He's little and he's going to take shots. He's going to get hit. It's naive for anybody to think that he's not going to get hit. He's going to get hit a lot. And does he have the type of body to get him through an entire NFL season of getting hit? I don't know that he does. He's going to have to make a drastic improvement in his timing and his thought processes on staying in the pocket and maneuvering in the pocket. That's going to have to happen. And does he do that this year? Because he's missing valuable time right now as being hurt. He's not going to be ready until 2 weeks before the season? They said he's going to be cleared to play. So to me, that's valuable time to be developing. Now he's practicing with his own team right now, and hopefully they can find ways to develop him in other ways. But I'm interested to see if there's any improvement or if it looks like the exact same Brock if he eventually gets to start on week 1. So that's gonna be an interesting watch. And do they get to the Super Bowl if it gets down to to Sam Darnold? I don't think so. If it gets down to Sam Darnold, I don't think they can make the Super Bowl. I still think that they can make it with Trey, depending on the system, on what Shanny's trying to do with him. I think it's possible. And all this stuff I'm saying, it sounds like I'm really down on Shanny, and I'm really not. Like I love Shanny to death. I just want him to I want him to eventually just come to reality. Stop giving us the nonsense takes of it's football and recognize that you've had one season out of 7 where the quarterback hasn't gotten hurt. And how many guys can you blame it on? At what point do you say to yourself, well, even if it is their fault, what can I do? What can I do to help them out a little bit? And now he's going to say, well, I tell him exactly where to go with the ball. But this is the thing, when that window isn't there, but you feel the pressure of Shanny telling you in your ear that you're supposed to hit this guy in this window and you miss the window, now what? Now you get tiptoe dancing Jimmy G in the pocket, and he's looking all around, doesn't know where to go because he wasn't even thinking of another guy to hit. He's never really good at pre-snap reads. And but Brock, who is a lot better than Jimmy, is it's still going to take experience. And granted, he's had a lot of experience. He won 2 playoff games, but at the same time, you still need to grow in this league. You have to keep growing because if you don't keep growing, then and you get stagnant, teams are going to figure you out. And they're going to take away, they're already going to take away what you try to take away what you do well. So now it's up to you to have a counter. And then once they figure out that counter, what's the counter for that? People talk about how you got to have this, you got to have these big huge plays, and and they talk about Patrick Mahomes, but what makes Patrick Mahomes great to me is the fact that, I mean, to me he's the only generational quarterback in this league. The only guy that people are going to remember as being great, truly great. And he is and the reason why I say that is because when he came out, he was bombs away. Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Everybody was like, "Oh, well, Tyreek Hill's so fast," and like all that stuff. Well, teams started playing too high shell, and they eventually took that away. And he wasn't doing as much of that last year, but he made it work. He just took what the defense gives him, and he made plays, and he would even manipulate defenses. That's what I love about Patrick Mahomes is when I watch him play, it's almost like he manipulates the defense into giving him, you got to give him something. And he's going to bait you into coming up just enough so he can get the ball over you. It's pretty to watch. Like, and does he make mistakes? Of course, every quarterback does. But like I said, he's the only one that I see right now that is truly generational. And I'm hoping that we see some growth out of some of these better quarterbacks because we do have some good quarterbacks in the league. I don't want to pretend like that we don't have some good quarterbacks. There are some good guys that are going to get 4,000 yards a season. That they're good quarterbacks, but they're not generational, in my opinion. So, but yeah, like I said, it sounds to every, I'm sure it sounds to most people like I am just dogging on Shanny right now, right now, but I'm really not. Like I'm telling you the fan, like what I'm telling you the fan what to look for and the things that I feel Shanny needs to do to get better, like in order for him to get better as a coach, and and honestly a few things for Brock to get better as a quarterback. Trey obviously he needs time. He needs time. He needs reps. And is he going to get that on a team that's ready to win now? I never thought that he would. I always was skeptical that he would, but it's just kind of coming to fruition, and it's unfortunate because he's a really good kid. Like he's a really good kid, and he's exactly what you would want your your uh your franchise quarterback to be. Nice kid, like just good, just really nice kid. Like, I mean, works really hard, tries everything to does things out of the box. If this isn't working, switches it up. He switches it up. He does that. He sounds like he's getting more confident, but you can't be confident unless you do it, unless you get the experience. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but I am looking forward to this season because I want to see if, and I talked about earlier, I talked earlier in the show about being right. I don't care. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm absolutely wrong. I hope that Brock Purdy is the perfect quarterback for Kyle Shanahan, and I hope that no one gets hurt. I hope that Shanny figures out how to do things the I hope that Shanny figures out how to do things in not even the way that I explained earlier, but it works. That's what I hope. I hope I'm wrong all the way around. But that would mean that we won the Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that I don't think we're going to win, because I do. I think this team is supremely talented. I think that somehow they make this team better every single season, and I think that this season is no different. So I think this team is absolutely capable. This, to me, is the top 2 roster in the league, and they have the coaching staff to do it. Can they do it? Can they do it? I just want them to prove me wrong and how they do it. Just prove me wrong, please. Prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. I want to get on my show and say, man, was I wrong about that? But hey, we're Super Bowl champs, so does it matter? And yeah, I just want to enjoy it. I just want to enjoy the season. But I'm gonna get out of here for today. Tomorrow, hey, tomorrow, make sure that you come in. It'd be 6:30 Pacific time. I got Mariah and TL. They're doing a show right now at the same time as me. But yeah, Mariah and TL will be here. We will talk. We're going to talk NFC West, and we're going to talk about, because I've been hearing a lot of rumblings in the spaces by people, and you know who you are. I hope Monty's watching this. uh Talking about they think that other teams can win this division. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it tomorrow. And I'm going to talk with my player partner, TL, and my other player partner, Mariah. We're going to talk about the NFC West. And we're going to break down these teams, and we are going to see what is really realistic about the NFC West, about this division, and about the 49ers position in it. But like I said, make sure that you give this video a like. Make sure that you give it a subscribe. Make sure that you hit the bell so you get the notifications for when I go live. And to tell a friend so we can be friends every day, every week. And I will see y'all tomorrow. As always, and forever, go Niners.